Hi, I'm DJ Ware, and I'm back to do a little bit of a deep dive on PF. PF is called Packet Filter, and this is for FreeBSD and GhostBSD both. In fact, I think even Mac OS runs a copy of PF. What are we going to do today? So today I'm going to do a complete clean PF firewall and set up on a fresh FreeBSD, and that's what I'm running here. Why am I on FreeBSD and not GhostBSD? GhostBSD just released 26.1 on the 7th, I think it was, a few days ago. And so I started there, but I can't install it. Every time I launched I downloaded the ISO, ran it through the SHA-256 check. It agrees with what it's supposed to be, but when I launch it, it runs through all the way to looks like it's deleting out a bunch of drivers that it doesn't need, and then it blows up with a segmentation fault. So anyway, I'm using 15.0. The first thing before we want to get started, though, is to make sure that we do, if you've never seen this kind of, I don't know how many of you are command line savvy, but I can explain this. So this is a sudo command for the package manager to update. Those are ampersands, which say basically this is a command I want to run by itself, and when that's finished, run this one. Okay, so the next thing I want to do here is use pfctl. This is the environment for so because I have ZFS on root, I can snapshot my environments so that it keeps a copy of it. I think I explained this the last time I did a deep dive on GhostBSD, but so pfctl or beadm, either one will allow you to manage their snapshots. And the first thing I'm going to do is a list. This is what I currently have out here. So these give me rollback points in case something goes horribly wrong. So the default is the one that the operating system laid down when it initially installed it. This one up here is the next one that I did, which was after getting in and doing the updates and installing a bunch of the stuff that I wanted. So I snapshotted there and then did the PF install on this box, and then I snapshotted this right here to post. So if I wanted to roll back to this from ground zero, I could roll this back to base 15, and that would be done. I would have a PF clean environment. I'm not going to do that, but that allows me to go either way. So if something gets messed up, I can go back to the post 15 and pick that up. So the first thing I want to check, though, and this is because of GhostBSD, they use this, and so I'm going to check and see if it's running here, and it's not. The other thing I want to check is, are there any other? This is a sysrc all greet firewall. Okay, so or you can just do that, and it'll list everything that's in the RC control file, basically. So we don't have any firewall rules in there. I do have my PF set up, though. So the next thing to do is to take a look at the rules. And you'll see right here, those rules are stored in pf.conf. You have to declare it. It doesn't assume that they're that, and it doesn't, default to them there. So we'll do a more on pfconfig. Basically, these are the rules or configuration commands for PF. The first one is just a variable. It says ext underscore interface is equal to em0. You can put this in as a list, where you have the curly brackets and say em0, comma WLAN 0 if you have both Wi-Fi and an interface for Ethernet. I don't. I just have Ethernet on this one, so that's all I need. The next one is my variable called LAN net. That's my LAN segment, 192.168.1.0. SSH port, another variable, just to say that the port I'm configuring is 22 or the default one. I then lay out, this is a jail network. This is where I'm going to define a private IP of 172.25.0. And then I declare the NAT on my external interface on EM0 from that 172.25.0.0/24 to any network, and then to push it to that device. So this NAT will be on that device. So that sets up my private IP and with a NAT. I'm going to skip the optimizations for local, and then I'm going to block everything coming in and everything going out. That may seem kind of funny to do, but yeah, we're going to open up things as we need to. I always start there because sometimes I'll rethink my network and then I'll just go in and I'll show you. So on loopback, we're going to allow everything. Yeah, so it allows everything in and out. On the outbound side, we're going to allow TCP IP4 or IP4 and IPv6 to go out, and then inbound will allow SSH. Everything else is up there blocked, right? So yeah, we're also going to allow in DHCP, so I can send requests out, I can get requests back, get the response back. So, and then ICP, you can ping it, you can do some status there with it. Same for IPv6, and then down here we're going to block all the common noise ones. A lot of these come from Apple, and if you stick a Mac on your network, you automatically get these broadcasters that just yell and scream and throw things, and yeah. So this is to block all that noise. That's basically it. So the next step, before we do anything, we want to make sure that we have the PF module from the kernel loaded. And you load those doing that. It's already loaded. I could have saved myself some trouble and just done a stat and by itself, and it would have shown me all of them. Those are the two that we're concerned with. This is PF. This is for the log, and the other one's for the PF kernel. So, yeah. So we're good. The reason why that's important is because of this next command. PF control is your user land utility that allows you to make changes to the PF control environment. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to say don't load these rules and pull them in from a file called etc pfconfig, right? That's the one we used. I don't get anything back, which is good news. You can do an echo if you ever want to know if you've got a problem or something. You don't. 0 means success. So that means all the rules are good. There's no problem there, but you can always check that just in case you're worried about it. If this KLD stat did not have this loaded, you would get an error here because it would fail with it probably would indicate a hardware failure because it can't get to the PF kernel. So, yep. Without that, it breaks. So we're gonna do this first, which is to load them. Now I'll tell you that this is not going to be a problem for me right now, but the first time you run this, the first time it encounters that SSH, it might hang your SSH session, and I am under SSH here. So yeah, I have a SSH session open from Fedora over to the VM. So, and it will hang. It's easy to fix this. You just close the window, open a new session, done. It'll be fine. Now, what I ran into though, trying to do, I did bridge networks first. Yeah, that created a problem because yeah, it hung the entire network. The only way to get to it was to get on the console, yeah, and get addressed to it that way. That's why I always tell people to use a VM unless you're sitting in front of a monitor with the machine hooked to your keyboard and your monitor. Yeah, because or you have a KVM or something that allows you to go onto the console. Anyway, once you're done with this, you can do an E, which is to enable it. Now it's going to say it's already enabled, but that's okay. That doesn't make it permanent though. To make it permanent, you do a sysrc pf underscore enable equal yes, and that shows you what it was and what it is. So it's not changing anything. And I'm going to do rules, and this is where to find the actual file. Again, it's not changing anything. It's just confirming what was there already. The last thing to do is I want pflog turned on. So I'm gonna enable the service here as well. So yeah, that means the next time it comes up, it will enable all of those things, and I won't have to do anything else. The firewall will be loaded. The other thing, if you're on GhostBSD, which uses IPFW, you want to turn that off. So yeah, you'll want to do that. Now I think that's already in there, and then we can check. And make sure. Well, let's spell it right first then. So it's not enabled, so we don't have to worry about it here, but you will have to worry about it on GhostBSD because it is enabled. The last thing to do is simply to verify the rules, and I'm going to do, this is a minus S. It's not a search, it modifier. Yeah, it's a modifier. So and we're going to say rules. Now, if I just press that, I get a list of all the rules. But I want to check the count. There should be 38 of them. And then we're going to check my nat rule, and there that is. So now you can see it's replaced the variables. Yeah, and in fact, this will be a round robin. So last is to do a check on the service. And check that, and you should get this back. So that looks good. And finally, let's go for 3 pings. Always think of how to hunt for Red October. 1 ping only, please. Anyway, so yeah, it's good. And that is really that's as difficult as it gets. The real issue is learning the rule set. I don't know of a GUI for PF. I bet you there is one, but I don't know of one. Maybe you do. I've always modified it from the command line. If you're on a Mac OS has PF available to it as well. Don't confuse it with the Mac Firewall, though. They're not the same. However, you can turn it on. If you want to use, it follows the same rules as the ones I just showed you here. Or if you prefer using a GUI, there is a front end to PF called MURUS, M-U-R-U-S. They do call it a firewall, but it's not. It's just the front end piece. It's like a GUI version of PF control. But you can go in and modify it just like you do with any of the other firewalls, like Uncomplicated Firewall under Linux. It looks very much like that. So yeah, and you can go in and set it up, set up your rules and all that stuff, and yeah, and you can turn it on and it'll run and it'll show you up in the status that it's running. Why did I do a private IP instead of a bridge? Well, like I said, I ran into some issues with bridges. I always do. I prefer a private IP with a NAT, and the reason is it's just simpler. Over time, it's more predictable and it's much easier to manage to me, and that's my opinion. You might feel differently, but that's just mine. That is a binary file, but you'll notice it's a pcap. So if you want to read that, you can use any pcap utility to read that you want. As always, thank you very much for watching. Drop a comment below and let me know, did you migrate from IPFW? Did you try? Do you have a Mac? Did you try it on a Mac? Any questions on the config? Any questions at all about PF? Until next time, stay secure and take your snapshots, and I'll see you in the next deep dive. Bye for now.